the high table, on an undershelf, was her medical bag, and she had 3. She'd sewn the leather satchels herself, and each had a different coloured wool handle, so she knew which to grab if it were an emergency. Red for battle, blue for childbearing, green for illness. There were no windows in the room, so she lit several candles until she felt there was enough light from which to work by. While she was waiting for Ewan to return, there was a particular ointment that Emma had asked for, as well as the tincture for the butcher's ague, and a herbal remedy she wanted to give Ewan to help with his night terrors. Her poor husband was still waking up in the middle of the night covered in sweat, his heart racing and fear in his eyes. There was much he'd had to endure. The man had nearly died at least twice in the last 6 years. If there was any way she could make him feel better then, she needed to try. There was a soft knock on the workroom door, and faint as it may have been, it startled Shona, making her clink her vials and bowls together, nearly dropping 3. "Come in," she called, righting the containers, and sending up a prayer of thanks that any damage had been avoided. Ewan opened the door, filling the expanse with his broad, muscled body. "I'm sorry it took longer than I expected." Shona smiled indulgently. "I would wait forever for ye." Ewan covered the few feet of distance between them in a single stride, tugging her into his arms and planting a kiss on her mouth. She sighed against him, leisurely wrapping her arms around his waist. "You're too good for me," he murmured. "Never. We are a perfect pair." She meant the words wholeheartedly, but that didn't stop the nervous thump of her heart against her ribs. Had he come to tell her about MacLeod? How much danger was Rory in? Ewan held her at arm's length, gazing at her for a long moment before he spoke. "We had a visitor." She swallowed down her nerves. "I saw." "I gather ye know it was MacLeod." Keeping one hand on her hip, Ewan picked up one of her vials with the other, examining the dark green contents, perhaps in an attempt to distract her from their conversation. She softly disengaged herself and took the vial, setting it right where she'd had it. "Was he here for Logan?" "Please say I." "Nay, love." "Ye?" "Please say I." "Nay, he was looking for ye." "Me?" She somehow managed to keep the shock from her voice, a task that took all the effort she had, which left little for her trembling hands. She let go of the clinking vials. "What did he want with me?" "Answers." "Answers to what?" She asked the question even though she had an idea of what the answer would be. "Rory." Her heart sank. There had still been a little part of her that hoped Rory had nothing to do with it. "And what did ye tell him?" "That ye had no answers to give." Relief made her shoulders slump. "I do not have any." Ewan touched her chin, gently coaxing her to meet his gaze. "Have ye told me everything ye know?" She met his gaze, annoyed that he would ask her. "Do ye not trust me?" "I trust ye know that, but please, just answer me. Is there something else?" She shook her head, turning to her work table and shaking one of the vials to mix the contents. Aye, there was something else, but nothing to do with Rory. She was not yet ready to share with him the secret she'd been holding onto for a while now. The secret she and Emma had divulged to each other. That she was not from this time. She couldn't tell him until she knew for certain. She didn't even know what time she was from. A small part of her was beginning to suspect that Rory would not be found by anyone, because he wasn't here anymore to be discovered. She also couldn't tell Ewan that her pull to the moon had been getting stronger with each passing night. Memory after memory came tunneling back, stronger than before. The strange woman in her visions, herself, reading a book and drinking a glass of wine, standing on a boat with thick sails and breathing in the salted air, riding on a large, fast-moving, overlong iron wagon full of people, frantically scribbling in a journal, and one thing she was familiar with, picking herbs. Except she picked herbs in an unnatural